Just final touches on my questions. Just before, what are your preferred names? The ones on the screen? Charlene. Oh, I think we're live. All right. Welcome everyone to day one of Manyata screenings. I hope you enjoyed those films. I hope you enjoyed the experience watching them. And now we have the opportunity to have a conversation with three of the filmmakers. People watching, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting East African film. My name is Mugambi Nthiga. I'm going to be the moderator for this session. I only introduce myself because I'm a filmmaker myself, and there's nothing that I appreciate more than my films getting seen or the stuff that I'm trying to say actually find some resonance out there. I am joined by three fabulous filmmakers, Charlene, Ursula, and Caroline. Welcome, 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 welcome. Karibuni sana. Thank you so much for being here. But even more importantly, thank you for making this work. And the very first question I'd like to ask all of you, this is a question to everyone, is this. It has been said that a film is not complete until it has been seen. And this is as true for the audience as it is for the makers of the film. It's one thing for you to be sitting with the film, writing it, shooting it, editing it, and putting it out there. And another thing for it to be experienced by other people. In some cases, it actually redefines the work for you. So my question is, how do you feel after having this work been seen? Um, and I ask that when you pipe in to answer the question, please speak about the film that you made, just in case people can't remember you from the closing credits, and tell me how you feel after it's been screened and seen by people in East Africa and probably even further out. Please, whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
I'll just say a few words then. My film, Death by a Thousand Likes, a short animated film. It's based on a poem called Death by a Thousand Likes. And I'm really happy because it's the first screening ever. So that's super
Congratulations.
exciting for that piece. It's first time I did something experimental with the spoken word and animation. And yeah, just pushing the boundaries of storytelling from Africa, really. And it's about the implications of social media and how we're really hooked on the black screen. So yeah, I'm happy to share it and always interested to know what people think about it, how they perceive it themselves.
All right, thank you, Caroline. I imagine that you were also poet CK, right?
Yeah, just the other job.
And
Yeah,
listening to your voice, I believe you're also the narrator of the film.
that's right. That's right.
Okay, correct. All right,
Cheers.
so all right. Who wants to go next?
I am also, this is also my first time screening my piece. So yeah, and I'm just thinking about in January because it was done, like we completed it by December, and I kept thinking what to do with it now, especially because it's also experimental, and the choices that we made, it was just like out of the love and the feeling that we had for just the feeling that it gave us and the research that was done behind to make it. And yeah, the piece is very reflective and very thoughtful, and it ties a lot of history and who and what our faith is and what Africans are all together, and then just package it and just give it to people. So I'm also very excited to see how people take it in.
Ursula, just for those who are watching and might not know which one yours was from the credits, if you could please let them know what your
Mine is Beatrice, the Saint Praise.
Oh, sorry guys, I dropped off there for a moment. I was asking Ursula, am I back? Can you see me? I'm
Yeah, you're
seeing you
right.
smiling,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was asking Ursula what your piece of work was. If you said it while I was off, we can carry on.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And Charlene, please go ahead.
Hey, hey. So mine is called hashtag blessed. So it was inspired by my mom. My mom is a tour operator, and her vehicle was grounded because of COVID. So I was like, you know what? As in, guys are not traveling right now and all, but since the slay queen has to keep slaying and whatnot, so I got a small team together. By small team, I mean like 4 people, and we shot with a phone, and yeah, got a friend of mine who can edit to edit, and we put it out there. We submitted to Africa International Smartphone Film Festival, so it got taken so I'd say this is the second screening, and I'm so excited to have it screened, because like you said earlier, you shoot something and people don't watch it, you've really wasted your time. So I'm really happy that it's getting watched. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then
Right.
I movie also to show how resilient Kenyans can be. I think it's okay. I know the whole world is resilient, but Kenyans are the ones I know best, and they will survive basically anything.
True. And our political establishment never lets us forget how resilient we are.
True story.
True, true. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the conversation about the films. I'm just going to ask a bunch of questions, and this is as much as I will extend a question to someone. If anyone wants to pipe in and say anything, I'm really happy to. This is a round table type of conversation, and I would like to assume that you've also seen each other's films. So if any of you has the opportunity, this is the opportunity actually to ask a question to another filmmaker about some of the decisions that they made. But I'll get the ball rolling by asking Ursula, Beatrice. Did I pronounce that correctly? Or Beatrice? Beatrice the Saint.
Beatrice.
Oh, Beatrice. All right. So
Yeah.
Beatrice the Saint
Yeah.
praise is a film that involves three characters: Beatrice, a master, and a petitioner, I imagine. And the first thing I would like to know is that in the credits, you referred to yourself not only as the director of the film, but also the creative birth mother. Could you please expound a little bit on that title? I'm asking this simply because I think there's anything that pandemic has shown us when we've been in our individual spaces, we might have found ourselves unable to create, or we might have found ourselves with an abundance of creativity. I don't know where it is you fell on that spectrum, but for you to refer to this act of creativity as something that's birthed, and for this piece to be uh, from your perspective, you see it as your mother. I'm really, really, honestly curious about that and what the thought process was leading to that. Please go ahead.
So it's really, I use birth mother partly because I did not feel like director was it felt like a title that makes me feel like I made everything, but it was just an element that I birthed something and then other people took it. It's like the child was taken by the community and then the community made the child grow up. So I used birth mother just it's almost as if for respect for my collaborators. Yeah, I just felt like director is what I write in the form. It's what you write for
Yeah,
official purposes, but I feel like all of them like really had really interesting input like as we were going through the process, because sitting in the studio making the sound, it was a whole process. Sitting with the DOP, he really worked back and forth, and even considering the DOP who I used, he has that like that's his style and it's very unique to him. So I really I didn't feel like I could take it. So but mother, there's that. And then there's also like thinking about the process of how long it took to make it. It felt like I wrote it in 2 days, but when I go back and think about how long it took for it to grow, it took a much longer. It's been simmering and then it came.
right, right, right. I mean, it's quite it's an unforgettable piece of work. There's a lot of stylistic elements you've put there. It's highly stylized, and I know none of that was by accident. But I would like to know what the initial core of the idea was that led to the thing that now we ended up seeing. What was the birth process like? What was it that
Okay.
came out of that?
Yeah. So Beatrice is the name of okay, we can't call her a freedom fighter, but she comes from Congo. Her story originates from late 1600s to early 1700s. She lives a very exciting life, dies at 21, married twice, fights the Portuguese, tries to take over the Portuguese, like she does the most, and she's burnt at the stake.
Wow.
And yeah, she goes through so much, and she's one of those stories that we say, oh, the women were forgotten when they fought for, when people were fighting
Yeah.
against the white people coming into Africa. And so there's that segment of her, and then there's this part of her where she did, in Congo they had this thing where what they did with the Catholicism that was present is they took it and then they adapted it to fit to their own religion. So what she did is took a Catholic prayer and rewrote it. And so the idea was, what if Beatrice existed in today? So what prayer would she take? And then how would she make it come to life in this day and age? So for me, it was
Wow.
very easy to just look at our Father. Like we say the Lord's Prayer all the time. But then when you start unpeeling the layers, it's just be like, what are we saying?
Uh,
what,
uh,
what are we saying? That's the concept.
wow. So is that abstracting of the prayer, the film, the words that she's saying? Is that the prayer?
So though okay, wait. Do you mean what she said?
Yeah, what
Or
she says in the film, her narration in the film.
no, the narration in the film is my idea of what if Beatrice reincarnated, to say. Yeah.
Wow.
But
In
there's
present day.
yeah, in present day.
Right.
But then
Right.
there's like a tagline that appears, like, let's say, like in the poster, it says "Salve, you say, Salve, you don't know." Because she was telling these people, you just say "Salve, Regina," you don't know what it means, and then she tells them again, it is intention that counts. It's not baptism; it's intention. It's like it was like she was ahead of her time. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to have to go watch it again now in that understanding. So thank you.
Okay.
All right. Poet CK, Caroline. So you wrote this and also narrated it, and I noted there was quite a number of lines in there. I'm going to quote a few lines in the sort of like a spoken word piece. You said things such as we live. It opens with "We live in a failing cybernetic loop, simulated people." It had such quotes as "sex tape fame, GMO video games down to 5 seconds, products that buy me." Um, Singularity hive mind, the Internet of Things. The Terminator was no movie, it was a documentary. I want to know which ones of these lines of narration would you say really set you on your way, or which of these really got you into the mood, or got you into thinking about what the heart and soul of this film was going to be.
Yeah, good question. I've never had a question like that before. Um, I think living in a failing cybernetic loop, I think that kind of encapsulates the whole thing. Um, I'm I'm very philosophical. I like to think of ideas. I like to talk ideas with people. I don't like to talk about people. I like to talk about
Thank
ideas
you.
and concepts and,
Yeah.
why we live the way we do. Just like I quote Ursula talking about the Lord's Prayer and peeling back the layers and trying to like things we just take for granted, kind of like we live on autopilot most of the time. We do the same thing every day. Most of us artists are kind of on the left field a little bit, but still there's some routine to our lives. So this piece, usually with the poetry, just comes to me literally like somebody hands me the script and I just write it. Sometimes I don't even feel
Wow.
responsible. But then
Wow.
again, all those concepts have been flying around in my head for ages, from my research, even researching what melanin is. We have this dark skin who talks about what melanin is apart from it shades you from the sun? It does much more than that. So I like to go to the depths to why we use certain words and what they mean. So that piece, Failing Cybernetic Loop, I think encapsulates the idea of the broken human. I don't want to be negative, but we're not biological anymore. We're almost part of the computer network. We all depend on it. I depend on my laptop. I depend on it, in order to do my job, to survive. So we're no longer organic in a sense. We're becoming more like transhuman. So
Oh,
with the whole yeah, with the whole thing of social media, we depend on our likes. That's why it's called death by 1,000 likes, because there's
oh.
this Japanese, I think it's a Japanese saying, where you can die with 1,000 cuts, right? And it's the same thing. If somebody mentally abuses you, they're destroying you very like poison. Nobody can see it, but it destroys you eventually if it's done over a long period of time. So this whole idea of things we take for granted, if taken to an excess without looking at it and without questioning, it can be quite destructive. So it's like a little warning. It's like checking in. Where are we going as human beings?
So,
Yeah,
so
that's
just to be sure, Caroline, this is just us you checking in with humanity. This is you not saying humanity is doomed, death is
no,
inevitable,
definitely not.
our 1,000 likes are ahead of us, and we're all gonna die.
No, but we get so much props for likes on Instagram or whatever app you're using. It's like, oh, I'm amazing. I've got billions of followers. I'm worth this much. But then you switch off, and then what are you? You put the phone down. What are you? And that's where we are maybe losing our way a little bit. Because the real values in life are your relationships with people, your friendships, your partner, your wife, your husband, whatever that is, your children, those are real. The rest is an illusion. And we live in a world of illusions. We create illusions and distractions. But I hope that we also create provocative work that can make us think, like make that gymnasium go to work in the mind, rather than just consuming, be part of it. So I try to tickle the mind just to say, hey, wake up. Let's talk about this. Yeah.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. All right. Ah, wow. Let me just say, I'm going to go back and watch everything now. Having this sort of point of view of what led to the making. So that's wonderful. Shalene,
Yay.
um, all of us at the onset of Corona and the months that led up from there when we got into our quarantine, Caroline, our earliest curfew was at 7 p.m. as well, and then it
Mm.
got
Yep.
moved to 10 p.m. and then to 11 p.m. and then to 9 p.m. and then back to 10. It was just moved back and forth. But then,
Yeah.
Charlene, I'm sure you already expressed the fact that your mom's chief source of income was grounded to a halt for a while. And
Yes.
I'd like to
Yes.
assume that yours was as well, because this is the work that we do,
Oh yeah.
and it,
Yeah.
it, it involves people. So you probably found yourself in a bit of a void as well.
Very
Um,
tricky.
I'm just wondering, what were the feelings that led you to express yourself through Blessed? It's something to have a, 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 a track at home that you could pose in, but there's a lot of very intentional decisions that you make in the storytelling that say a lot in what is it, just a couple of minutes. What was it that led you to make those decisions? What was it that you were feeling as you were making the film? Because I think your feelings will take us back to. I feel like we've gone through so many different eras within the pandemic alone. But what era and what feelings were you having at the time that you were making #blessed?
Okay, so when the pandemic started, you remember it was quite crazy. Like, you find most people, okay, not most, a big number of people did not have livelihoods. Like, they lost their source of income. So we were seeing like guys are
Mm-hmm.
struggling. There was discussions of food should be distributed and all that stuff. So I was just thinking, like this is this is an important time to believe, because you can easily give up. You can easily just decide, oh well, let me just quit. But if you could wake up and decide you're blessed, somehow you make it. So it's actually that idea crossed my mind. And then the other reason why, It was called #blessed. It's the obvious reason.
Yeah.
Um, I see. Okay, I'm not very big on social media, but I do admire people who are very good at it. So I see people who are socialized and all that, and they do like announcing how blessed they are. Like I am blessed. So that's so this socialite, who this rather slay queen lady, who is faking it in like she's in the park and all that while people are on lockdown and all that. Um, you know, I just felt I wanted to show like the extent people will go to keep the likes coming. I think me and Caroline should shoot something. We have something in common. Yeah.
There
So
are, yeah, there are very, very, very similar themes between
yes,
what you were
yes.
making and what she was making. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually just to uplift the spirit, which worked because on set people were actually really happy when we were shooting. And then it was the obvious, the way the slay queens go like, "Yo, I'm blessed. I'm just blessed." I was like, "Cool, cool. Let's do this." Yeah.
Right. Got it. I'm going to come back to a choice that you made in that film a little bit later on. But then, Ursula, back
Okay.
to you. Um, I would like to know about the music. There was not just the soundscape of Doana speaking. There was also some very definite choices made about the music and the soundscape. From my perspective as a viewer, the music and the spoken word worked together really, really well. There was a sort of marrying between them. There's bits where there was silence, where you faded into black and then came back out, and then the voice continued speaking. Were these intentional choices that you made? What was it that led to the decisions? What is it that led to the decisions around the sound? Deciding that it was going to be narration and music underneath. I'm quite curious about that.
So before I did this, what had happened is I watched Birdman. And
Right,
then I was just like, what? They did that with drums? And I was just like,
right.
yeah, I think it's my turn to experiment and see how far we can take the drums. But in general, I'd say a lot of the music for me, it's very internal. I can't say I chose this. I can't say I chose this because this. I'd say I chose it because it was working in my heart. The first thing I played was okay. Just like people who don't know, I did. If you think in music theory terms, was just like clap to a 7/8 beat, and that's what I arrived in the studio with. And as we were working through it, we were just like building layers of ideas that I'd had and trying to find elements that resonate with the time. I felt like that was the main thing we tried to do, is not to just to put any random instruments and have a bass line that's drums, and then the rhythm, because we did the background and then Doana came in and did the voiceover after, and then it was really just internal guidance.
What did it feel like when Doana's voice fell right in line with the music?
First of all, in my head I could see it. So like when she just got into the studio, I was just like, oh, great. We have it. We have the voice that sounds, it's almost as if you want a voice that sounds like it has the nostalgic nature. It's like it's pulling you towards something, but it's still there with you. And there's a richness that it has. I was just like, wow. And then I felt like I'd also say there were elements that were just like random inspirations. Like there's the random raps here and there running in the background. Those ones were just like random
Yeah.
inspirations. Yeah.
Could we speak a bit about the cutaways? And by the cutaways, I really mean where we drew from the main action of the story and went into someone that was making. I called them the petitioner because they were the ones who were going to what I imagined was a deity, a godlike figure, asking them questions.
It's
Um, eh,
actually,
yeah, go ahead.
so the idea is it's not a deity, It's the what do we how do you usually call it? It's like black nigger running to white savior. It's like, master,
Wow.
master, let me tell you what they're doing. And then he's telling them, go do this to those people. It's almost as if, oh yeah, you thought they had to use themselves to get us into trouble. But then there was this guy who was just like, master, guy, I'm a good boy. Look at me. So that's exactly what it was. And they were really just breaks in the mind. And they were just like funny, ironic bits of what was happening.
This was the house nigga going to talk to the master to snitch on the field nigga.
Exactly. Because they tell him, oh my God, they're calling God a woman. And then he's just like, they have a God.
Ah.
Yeah, just be like, they do everything together. Communism.
Ah. Yo. Hey. Hey. Okay. Cool. I guess the last question I'm going to ask about this this project in particular was did you for instance know, had you mapped it all out in your head, did you know that this was I get the impression that you are very involved in the making of the music as well.
Yeah.
You didn't subcontract that to someone else. I imagine that you're sitting in the studio saying it needs to sound like this and it needs to go this way. uh,
Yeah.
that's correct, and this is because of your musical background as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I really don't know what informed the choices about the music, but I feel like you've spoken about that as well. Did you test many sounds, many soundscapes, or did you get in and know that this is pretty much the way I want to go? And in the same vein, was Doana the voice you'd wanted all along, or did you test a number of voices and then go with her?
Joanna was the voice I wanted all along. It's just
Okay.
like I could hear it. The minute I started writing, I was just like, there, she's the one.
Yeah.
And with regards to choices, it was more of there was the basis that we want. Now the question was like, in terms of testing, it would be like, what will we build on this with this? Why? If we add like a little bit of element of melody, how does it enhance this bit? If we want silence, why is silence very important at this particular point? Because anytime there's silence, it was very intentional. And then anytime there were points where we were just like, at this point, we just want to jam people's heads and just hit them hard with a lot of sound. It
Yeah.
was very intentional. So yeah, but the producer did like he still like played around with ideas and played around. So we did have the things that we chucked, added. Yeah.
Got it. Wonderful. Charlene, your film
Yay.
your film your film comprises I want to see, I wrote this question down. There's a very specific creative choice that you made. Your two speaking roles do not hardly communicate with each other,
Yep.
and they're not communicating with a real life person that we're seeing on the screen. They're both communicating with imaginary people. You have your protagonist, our slay queen, talking to people through the camera. And then you have this person who is doing this virtual, quite literally virtual tours, talking exclusively to someone on his phone. So I'm just wondering, was that intentional? What was it that? Could you speak about these creative choices? It's a very brave creative choice to have your protagonists not talking to other human beings. You don't have the conventional, I'm shooting here and then I'm shooting a reverse. No, no, no. What you have is someone on the phone and someone on the phone, someone
Yes,
on
yes,
the phone. Yeah.
yeah.
So I really would like to know more about that creative choice that you made.
Well, in all honesty, when I realized what is going on when I was writing, I realized that yeah, what you've just said, they're not really communicating. In the current world, there's a disconnect between people. People are not connecting like they used to, you know. It's I don't think it's intentional. Like I think people want to connect, but people are not connecting. And it's very, very clear in this film. So this girl is like it's a clear wall. Like he's on his, like you notice when he's talking on the phone, he's not even looking that direction at all. It's only when it's about his money, that's when he
Yes.
looks at her.
Yeah.
It's what's happening currently. So I actually noticed it later on, and I was like, oh well, oh wow, that was not intentional, but oh okay, let's roll with that. I like it. So yeah, that's basically it. People are not connected as much as they used to be. Like I think people had more friends in the past than they have right now, right? I don't know. Do you feel like you've lost some friends? Like you've got
It's
5,000 friends on Facebook, but now you have like 3 friends in real life, and you're like,
that's
oops,
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The fact that this person is on the phone the whole time, doesn't pay attention. I noticed again, this could not have been an intentional choice, that he doesn't even want to make human. There's no one who makes any human connection in that film.
Mm-hmm,
He doesn't
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
even, he holds his sanitizer out, asks her to sanitize their hands, and then asks her to slip the money into his wallet rather than.
Yeah, it's in all honesty, I think we've become more selfish. We're not as generous as we used to be once upon a time.
Mhm.
People have become more, it's me, 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 me. Like my picture, like my whatnot, like me, it's all me, 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 me. I think, and people are doing it more bravely now. People are not hiding it anymore. It's all about me. It's all about me. So
Do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's basically it. I think it shows that, like just even the title, #blessed. It's me. I'm #blessed. Not you. We are not blessed. It's me alone. I'm blessed. It's like me. I've got a special kind of God that you don't know, that you don't have. Very tricky, but it's the reality. I think I'm seeing a lot.
Before I ask, because I have a follow up to that. If there's anyone
Mm.
who's watching this and you have any questions, please type them into the chat. We're really happy to hear your questions from the viewers as well. I'm really happy to hear what it is that you have to say, what comments that you have to make, so that it's not just this conversation going on. We can have it with the audience as well. So please type your questions into the chat, and we'll be able to see them here, and the filmmakers will be very happy to answer them. Charlene, you said something about
Yeah.
what you talk about. It definitely has issues to do with social media, but this is still
Mm-hmm.
a very heavily uh, a Corona era film.
Yes.
What do you feel the pandemic has exposed about us? What human truths do you think are now more apparent about humans in the 21st century and our relationship with technology that has been brought out by this virus, this pandemic?
Wow. First of all, those of us who thought we could not do things online, we can do things online, as you can see. Maybe we could have been in a studio together, but here we are online. So anybody who says, no,
True.
I don't know how to operate online stuff, they have been lying because they've been working online with everyone
Hmm.
else. That's number one. Number two, it shows actually we can get so much more done than we traditionally were doing, because like right now I can have say 10 meetings in a day, but now the whole idea of crisscrossing Nairobi to have 10 meetings, that was impossible. So like
Yeah.
right now they're just scheduled and I do them in the house or something like that. And another thing that Corona exposed in terms of technology, well, again, they're faking it. Yeah, like, okay, you see there are people who see social media and take it too seriously. Like you see someone's pictures and whatnot. There's people who like, I've had, there's a lot of depression because of social media. Like I always see Mugambi is in sijui where, is in where, but me, I'm never there, and I'm never on all those things. So
Keep speaking that into my life. Thank you.
I will follow you. I will follow you. I'll be in the background in the pictures. Yeah.
Please.
Anyway, so I think it has. I think the pandemic humbled people. It humbled like people across the board. Um, that's what I feel. But generally, I think it really. really increased our technology use. So it kind of opened our eyes to something new that we had
Yeah,
not really paid attention to. That's what I think.
got that. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Caroline, welcome back. I'm sorry about the connection dropping off every time. I am not even sure if you're here with us right now. Are you there, Caroline? Oh, man. Yeah, we lost her again.
Oh,
Bummer. All right. Well, Ursula, please let's. I'd like to talk about the visual, like the sort of the visual choices that were made of the film. We've talked about the soundscape. We've talked about how involved you were in all of that. Wondering about the decisions that you made as far as treating the visual aspects of the film, the cinematographer, the cinematography, the choice of the grade that you had in there, how it was that you decided to cut the film together. I'm curious about that as well. I'm asking this simply because yours was an experimental film. It adopted styles that we haven't seen before. Caroline, welcome back. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Caroline? Not yet. So while we wait for Caroline to get fully connected, Ursula, could you speak about that, the visual aspects of the film? Because again, I can tell that that was not accidental. There was definitely very much an intentional way in how you treated that, down to the grade and the color palette and all that. Could you please speak about that for us?
Um, Let me start with the color palette. When we were trying to find who can help us shoot this work, I'd known Lucy for a while, and I had seen his work, and I'd seen the previous things he'd shot. So the style is completely, it's him.
Mm.
It's That's his style.
Mhm.
If you open any of his pages, like you'll just see like a very strong sense of what he's doing, and what he's trying to do is trying to use shadows and small details. And I like that because I feel like at the same point, I was going through this phase where I'm just like, I'm so tired of going to a shoot and someone tells me, tunahitaji drone. I'm just like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. So, and I was just like, I wanted someone who could take like very small, keen elements and use them to bring up meaning. So, and then in terms of like choosing the shots that we needed, we went through bit by bit. It was really going through sentence of a sentence and then figuring out what do we want out of each. However, when we got to the edit, we were just like, this bit feel there's bits that we feel like it made everything too literal. So we had
Ah,
to take things up a bit so that it's not, I give you money. Thank you. Feel like that. So yeah, at the end, and then there's also the freedom of, because it's poetry. There's the freedom of what we can do with it. So there's things that we found. Like there's a worm that appears in the beginning of it. It was just like, oh look, shoot, and it made it into the film. Same to the cat. The cat was just like, wow, you've been here with us all day. let's let's just have you. And it's just, yeah, there was the pre-planned, what happened in the editing, and the things that were, let's get inspired.
yeah, true, true. There's always the three films. There's one you write, there's one you shoot it, there's one you edit, and they're
Yeah.
all very, very different. Yeah. Well, we're running out of time. I really hope that Caroline can pop back in question for her. But then, while we're doing that, I would like to ask, and please, if Caroline comes in, I'll interrupt you. I apologize in advance for that. But please, any final words that you might have for the people who watched your films and might want to know something extra about you, please, this is the time to speak about it. Um, Last remarks. Sorry, I promised. Caroline, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry about
Wow.
that.
No,
I
it's
have
fine.
three Wi-Fi's going off and I don't understand why. I had two backups and
Oh
one.
man, I'm really
So, but
sorry.
last words, right? Before I
It is
also
last. It is
disappear.
last words. It is last words. But I want to ask if you can answer this question. If you can summarize it, I would love to know what informed the visual style and the soundscape. I asked Ursula a similar question. You guys went to a very non-narrative, experimental route, and you decided that you're going to choose animation for this, and you had your spoken word accompanied by music as well. Very intentionally chosen music that sort of like fell in with the beats of the story. I'd like to know what informed the visual style and the soundscape of um, Death by a Thousand Legs.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Oh
I don't know
man,
if you can hear me.
it's cutting off as well. But if you can get me
Oh
within this,
dear.
I'm just wondering what in. Oh, you can't hear me. Uh, uh,
Oh,
You're cutting out.
man, that's really sad. I'm gonna type out the question and then you guys could have your last statements in, and then Caroline could do her last statement with the answer to this question. So whoever wants to go first between Ursula and Charlene, please go ahead about your last thoughts.
oh, I'll go first then. Um,
Go ahead.
in I'm very inspired by Guy Ritchie style of writing, because I like humor that's not like you're not trying to be funny. You're just funny, you know. So like in this short film, hashtag blessed, I didn't want anyone to try to be funny. I just wanted it to be funny without people trying to be funny. So yeah, I hope the people who've watched saw that. Yeah.
Got that for sure. Thank you.
Um,
Go ahead,
uh,
Ursula.
yeah, for me, Beatrice was it's uh, it has a lot of things that have been simmering in my mind for years, and it took a lot of research and just seeing who Africans were, and if at all, if there's anything, the reason why, or whatever thought I really wanted it to provoke and to invite people to think of is who are we and who are we becoming? And that's why half of it it's just about questions and everyday things. Where do they stand? Yeah, Mugambi. I'm muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm muted. I'm saying, Ursula, I thank you, Charlene. Thank you so much for what you said. And thank you for the work that you made. Caroline, thank you as well. I hope you're able to read the question and and answer what it was that informed the visual stylistic choices and the audio and what your last words are. Oh,
Technology.
yeah, man.
Technology.
Letting us stand as well. Well, for those who are watching, Caroline says, I say goodbye and thank you so much. And she says that she's happy that her little film got to be seen. Guys, I am really, really, really blessed by your work. Thank you so much for making these wonderful short films. I, I keep saying this that, you know, if people don't take into consideration how complex the challenges we face are when it comes to making film. So any film that comes out, anything at all, is a victory in and of itself. But you guys didn't just make victories; you made some really good pieces of work, and I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you for having us.
it's our pleasure at Manyata Screenings. We're all about your work getting seen and getting appreciated by a larger audience. So thank you for making that work. Please, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Please continue making that work and continue making it with the courage and honesty that you do. And for those who are joining this conversation at home, I hope you have gained further insight into what what the creative process was for the works that you've seen. Just in case you haven't seen them, please tune in and see them. Please make more noise about Manyata screenings and this short film festival that we're having over the next few days. It's been an awesome day one. We've had Sherlyn, we've had Ursula, we've had Caroline, we've had a bunch of other films seen by other filmmakers. So please continue tuning in and telling your people about it. And I wish you all a very, very good night. Ursula, Sherlyn, blessings to you guys and a good night to you as well.
Bye bye. Good night.
All right. All right. Good night, guys.